Hello human beings of the internet, my name is Ryan from Immaterial Gamers, and today, and for the next few weeks, we want to do something a little more involved than Let's Play and podcasts, and move to something that we can take part in while following, a big gaming event. Which one of them are around? Oh yeah, so with that in mind, welcome to the first Immaterial Gamers Fantasy League. So, what is the League? Well, it's a group of people who would like to dictate the love life of... Sorry, no, that's the wrong film. No, it's a small competition between members of Immaterial Gamers, where we support players and teams and make predictions in some of gaming's biggest tournaments. And our first one, our trial run, is indeed a biggie. One of the consistently huge esports scenes out there, and that is League of Legends, the multiplayer online battle arena, or MOBA, created by Riot Games. Specifically, we are setting our first league in the League of Legends European Championship, or LEC for short. Well, most of us are from Europe, it makes sense. So, straight into the rules. First up, we got the draft phase. So there are 4 members of Immaterial Gamers taking part. One team from the 10 in this year's spring split. And in no particular order, they are XL Esports, FC Schalke 04, Fnatic, G2 Esports, Mad Lions, Misfits Gaming, Origin, Rogue, SK Gaming, and finally Team Vitality. Stefan went first, picking Origin. Duncan followed with Misfits, Martin selected Fnatic, and me? Well, I managed to get G2. And simply being, every time our selected team gets the W in the LEC, we would score points. 5 of them, to be exact. And secondly, we have the much bulkier prediction phase. So for each week's games, we will try to predict which team will achieve the following objectives in their games. And they are: be the team to destroy the first tower, be a team that slays the first dragon, be the team that obtains the first Rift Herald, be the team that takes down the first Baron Nashor, and finally, be the team that wins the game. A pretty important objective. Each of those is worth 1 point. And the spring split lasts 9 weeks, so with each team playing 18 games, that is a metric ton of points up for grabs. And this isn't going to be any spreadsheet for you to look through though. We want it to be a bit more visual. So we'll be running through each match in 2 different ways. First, we'll go through the rundown, a flash through of the highlights and objectives from most matches. As we say most matches, because if 2 Immaterial Gamers come up against each other, that's a clash. So we'll give them time to talk about their favourite points or low points in their match in question. So, let's get into it. This is the Week 1 rundown. Game 1 on Friday saw LEC 2019 Summer Champions, and my pick, G2 against the recently rebranded Mad Lions. G2 spent most of their time getting killed at the beginning of the game and lost a dragon, and then didn't even bother contesting the first Herald, and also lost their top tower in the middle of a teamfight. But Mad couldn't get the job done, and later on, good teamfight led the Baron to G2, followed by the Nexus, leading to the first win of the tournament. Game 2, and Team Vitality's turn to take on SK Gaming. So after the first pause of the tournament, we got straight into it, with Vitality scoring the Cloud Drake, and then fighting for Herald, but giving it to SK, who then promptly took the first tower. A nice team fight at Baron gave it to Vitality, but SK weathered the storm, grabbed a Baron of their own, and took the Nexus. Game 3, and Duncan's pick, Misfits, opened their LEC competition against Rogue. First blood to Rogue, but first dragon to Misfits. uncontested Herald ended up with Rogue. The Herald gave a headbutt, and the tower went a few minutes later. A false Baron start by Rogue led to a Misfits Baron later on in the game, but Dragon Soul equaled Nexus. Game 4 saw Schalke look to take on XL. Schalke opened up their kill balance early on in the game, but the blue team got the Dragon nonetheless. XL also ended up getting the Herald, after a little bit of a walkabout. See what I mean? Herald then took its charge on the bottom tower of Schalke's defence. However, they ended up getting the first turret of the game. They also tried to go for Baron, but it led to this pretty hectic team fight. Carnage. A whole lot of it. And then they proceeded to do this. Stolen. But it didn't matter. This team fight secured it for XL and got them their first win of the series. And now, Game 5, and our first clash as Martin's pick, Fnatic, take on Stefan's pick, Origin. Let's hear what they thought. Due to scheduling issues, Martin and Stefan were not actually able to talk about this week's clash, so straight into the highlights. Fnatic ended up with the first dragon. And then not much else happened, definitely not a herald, so please have a look at this first blood. Right, then OG ended up getting that first tower. Split objectives as OG ended up with the dragon, while Fnatic got the Baron. But then OG stomped and took the Nexus. Saturday saw Vitality and Mad Lions try and shrug off their first defeats in Game 1 of the day. The first objectives in this game were taken very quickly. Mad getting the dragon, while Vitality were getting the Herald. Almost simultaneous. And then it was a good old time to summon the big girl and take that tower. Oh, then later on in the game a First Blood did eventually happen. But then, eventually a good team fight did give Mad the Baron. And then later on, the game. Just like that. Fresh off their wins on Friday, Rogue and XL looked to make it 2-2 in Game 2. Rogue ended up with the early first dragon, whereas XL, a minute later, gave themselves the first Rift Herald. Like that. Now, just as turret plating was about to fall, XL lost the first tower to Rogue. And then one nice team fight later, we ended up with a Baron to Rogue. And speaking of Rogue, they also eventually took out XL's Nexus as well, just to wrap it up. Game 3, and it was Schalke's attempt to get their first win to halt Origin's good start. You can barely catch Herald just getting killed, but it was a bit quicker to just have a look at the top lane death. Because, you know, it had to happen. Then, Schalke made opportunity and took the top tower. Just like that. We then, very late into the game effectively, see Schalke pick up the first dragon. But then, we look to go to the Baron fight, where everything is epic and there's going to be a massive fight for it. No, it didn't happen. In fact, the Baron never got taken. So, we'll give you this team fight that wrapped up the Origin Schalke game. Carnage. Origin then just walked in, stomped the place, didn't need a dragon, just took those mountain buffs Dragon. I say Baron. And from there, they wrap up that game. Clash time. And it was Martin again, but this time Fnatic would be taking on Duncan's pick, Misfits. What went down? So again, due to scheduling issues, we weren't able to get this clash set up. We promise we will get more, but now, highlights. So, Fnatic ended up with the first Dragon, and the first Herald. See? And then, also the first turret. In fact, the only thing they didn't get was the Baron, because they really didn't need to, as they took the Nexus in less than 20 minutes. The last game of the week was G2 versus SK Gaming. SK established early top lane control and got themselves a Herald, but then things went south, as G2 ended up with the Dragon. Then, rather than just wanting one tower, they took two first towers. And then kills racked up, and they ended up with the Baron. And ended the game 23-8 while taking SK's Nexus. So, with the week over, here's the leaderboard for the league so far. And now with an idea of how the teams performed in the first week, would we have a better time predicting in week 2? Find out next time, as the Fantasy League continues.